So this is amazing, guys. Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal go up to the Collision Toronto convention. I guess it's a big journalistic convention center. And they slammed the corporate media disinformation in the center. They actually had a full segment, like 20 minutes of question and answers. And the girl that was asking questions, I could tell she's extremely partisan. She was trying to show them that they were partisan. She kept asking him where did they get their funding. She kept asking him why are they activists in their storytelling. Why don't they bring the other side in? And it kind of seemed crazy because if anybody knows what Grayzone is and what their reporting is, it's very factual based. They themselves are left leaning, but their reporting is not. They report the facts. They bring evidence based reporting. And they do show you both sides of the story, and they make you make a decision, and they tell you the whole story. So I just found that kind of weird. But anyway, so I'm going to show you guys the best clips of this video, and I'm very interested in your opinions. Go ahead, leave them down below. But yeah, she kept asking him very partisan questions. I think she was trying to put him in a hole, but they came up really well with really good answers. So let's jump to the first segment here.
Yes, it's fair to say that most people here also in the audience and myself don't trust all the mainstream media because we have so many different platforms right now, social media, we get a lot of sources sometimes.
So I want you guys to notice the way she asked this question. She's like, I don't trust mainstream media because there's so many sources and I don't trust these sources. Not because I don't trust mainstream media, because CNN sits there and lies to me about Russiagate, that... I don't know, just sit there and start naming things out that every time a mainstream news media gets a story from Russia, it's absolute propaganda and lies about Ukraine, and they just push those lies all. So to her, it doesn't seem like that's what's bothering her. To her, what's bothering her is that there's so many different social media websites and social media organizations that do the news. That's what bothers her. It doesn't bother her. Like, she's okay with just CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. She doesn't want any more of that. That's what it seems like to me. She's not really caring about the facts-based reporting.
It's, of course, an overflow of news as well, so it's really important that we select wisely and we make our judgment afterwards. But would you say that the trust in the mainstream media will decline further from here, or has it reached the lowest point already?
Hopefully it will. People need to see that the mainstream media has functioned as a mighty Wurlitzer for the policymakers that are engaged in a controlled demolition of our economy. A new survey reported by the Quincy Institute in Washington shows that US media reported more on Ukraine, all with one voice, one message, one line, which was completely identical to the line of the Defense Department and the State Department, which is also the line of the Canadian government, more than it ever reported in any month on the US assault on Iraq and Afghanistan. And so it's the mainstream media that's been driving what Congress now acknowledges is a NATO proxy war in Ukraine. And what has it led to? It has led to hyperinflation through the sanctioning of one of the world's largest exporters of oil. It has led to record gas prices. It's led to economic ruin on the horizon, a global recession, famine in the global south. And the media was telling you that Ukraine was going to win, the Russian economy would be ruined, these sanctions were just, and everything's going to be fine. And the public is not on board anymore. Maybe this is a bubble, and you don't feel that here, but go outside and talk to regular people, the people who were ignored and demonized by the Canadian media, like the people who were protesting in Ottawa, who had their bank accounts seized, who were called hate mongers and white supremacists. Those people are not going to be happy.
So amazing! This is amazing! I mean, she asks him, she's like, is this the lowest point of trust people have to the media? Max is like, no, I hope not. I hope they trust it less, because they're just so bad. Look at the Ukraine issue. They were so bad at the Ukraine issue. And yeah, that's all. And he just continues. It's amazing to see that. Aaron here is going to add something too. He's going to mention the OPCW case where they don't even, some stories, they don't even, the media doesn't even run with them.
Reasons why the public has lost confidence in the media. I mean, we all remember Iraq WMDs. Even in the run-up to the 2020 election, some anonymous intelligence officials decided to say that Hunter Biden's laptop was just Russian disinformation.
Oh, I guess that was another clip. Never mind. He's talking about the Hunter Biden laptop story that other news stations just completely stopped running with.
And that was enough for pretty much every single media outlet, with a few exceptions, to say, okay, we're not going to cover it. And then now we have to acknowledge, oh yeah, right, we were wrong about that. But there's so many examples of this, and so when it happens enough times, no wonder people are losing trust. You know, and by the way, there are stories that the media won't even cover that we cover, like the OPCW.
He does mention the OPCW. Okay. I knew this clip. Now let's move on to the next clip. I have a couple more clips, guys, to show you. A couple more questions.
I remember when Al Jazeera launched in Qatar, one of their main mottos and goals was Al-Rai wal-Rai al-Akhar. You understand probably. One opinion and the other opinion. It's always important, of course, to...
Oh, here she's going to try to show them as a partisan hack. I think she's going to ask them, first of all, where did they get their funding? And then second of all, he's going to ask them, how did they pick their stories?
To show all sides of the story. But to me, it seems that you're...
Or no. Here she calls them activist journalists. I remember now. She calls them activist journalists, and Max Blumenthal comes back and destroys her. She calls them activist journalists. Why? Because she feels like they don't bring the other perspective of the story or the other angles of the story into perspective, and he destroys her.
Work is activist journalism, right? You don't want to just show the second side of the story. So what is your ultimate goal, Max?
All the mainstream media are activist journalists. They are activists for neoliberal capitalism and for the political establishment. That's why they spend hours and hours on January 6th instead of doing hours and hours of reporting in the trenches in Appalachia of people who are dying of opioid deaths and being flooded with this poison. There are so many issues they could be talking about. Why are they talking about January 6th constantly? It's because they are activists for their cause. And we are transparent about what we believe. So you can trust that we have these beliefs. And why are we, for that reason, we're accused of disinformation. There was actually a speaker yesterday from a group called the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, funded by the UK and US governments, that has published a paper accusing Aaron of being one of the most prolific spreaders of disinformation on the globe on the issue of Syria, but they never pointed out one piece of disinformation. They've refused our request for an interview.
But just that claim itself is enough for an outlet like The Guardian, a mainstream outlet, to then repeat that study, to do an article about it, and repeat the claim that I spread disinformation without identifying a single case where I actually allegedly spread disinformation.
Right, so Aaron...
So yeah, clear. They are the activist journalists. They're the ones that are not really bringing the other perspective. They just make up their own stories, and they lie to us. Like he's saying here, they said I'm a prolific Syria gator, right? But they couldn't point to one piece of evidence that I lied about, or that they could point to that's not real or is the wrong perspective. Yeah, absolutely, this is real. And I'm gonna show you guys this last clip. Here, she's gonna ask them about their funding, and this is where they kind of just shut everything down.
And who your audience is. Can you talk to me about that?
Well, we're funded by...
Background.
Corporate press is not very interested in Julian Assange because they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them, which is the intelligence services that are seeking to kill him.
And of course, we also have to talk about business and the background of your operation. So I think the audience would love to know also how are you funded and how you select the stories and who your audience is. Can you talk to me about that?
Well, we're funded by hundreds and hundreds of people just like you through Patreon. We're still on PayPal somehow. I don't know how long that will last. And we bring in revenue through my Rockfin show, through our live streams, and anyone who might donate a little more, which is not a lot. It's basically enough for us to barely continue this 3-person operation. Our people,
3 people?
Yeah, we have 3 people, and I pay contributors small fees for articles. Anyone else is a friend of mine in the U.S. who usually people I met through the Palestine Solidarity Movement, which I participated in as a reporter for many years, which helped me get kicked out of the media.
Let me ask you, Aaron, what...
All right, great. Yeah, so they literally, I didn't know this, guys. The Grayzone is literally 3 freaking people, and they just get donations and fundings, and that's how they run the show. But it's 3 people. I thought it was like Alex Rubinstein, Ben Norton. I thought it was a bunch of people. I guess it's just maybe Max Blumenthal, his wife, and one more person. That's pretty insane. So yeah, amazing. We learned a lot. This host was very partisan. She tried to land these guys in a hole. but they easily climbed out of it. She didn't dig too much. And yeah, I'm very interested in your opinions, guys. Go ahead, leave them down below. I'll keep you in the loop with everything important in this world. I promise you, you're going to need my channel, so subscribe and like, and I love you. Mwah.